Hey, welcome to Thursday. Those of you that are still with us, are we doing purges on purpose? We're not doing purges on purpose. It just seems to be happening.
We actually haven't purged that many people because we're still getting about the same amount of downloads. So.
Well, and people are like, well, you know, I actually had some advice, or was given some free advice here several years ago. I guess it's,
you know what they say about free advice.
Yeah, it's worth what you pay for it. But I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, that I needed to watch what I said, and I needed to moderate my tone because I wanted to be careful that I didn't alienate any specific party or sex or group or or what have you. I was told when I entered the I guess what we'd call not digital media but video, the new medium of television, I was warned that I needed to be careful, what I said and how I said it, and to ensure that I didn't offend anyone. Apparently that didn't last very long. But the person that gave me that advice is a weak-willed, spineless human being.
I would say that wasn't from somebody that was credible.
That's it. It was from a one of these fence riders, one of these middle-of-the-road spineless people, one of these people that on the outside wants you to think that they're this way, but behind closed doors or in private they're another way. Folks, what you see... and everyone who knows us, Jared, can attest to this, that there's no public and private Paul Markel.
There's one.
There's one
there
Paul
can
Markel.
Only be one.
That's right. And what you hear, what I say, I don't modify my tone. I don't modify what I say for the radio or for television. I say it regardless. I don't have a TV persona and a radio persona and then an in-person persona. Ask anybody who's ever attended one of our classes. I guess that'd be a good litmus test, huh, Jared? If you've ever attended one of our live classes.
Yep. Well, we've got a couple. We've got one coming up, right?
Yeah, at the end of this month.
A week and a half.
Yeah,
a week and a half.
No,
a week and 2 days.
Yeah, a week and 2 days. Sounds like somebody needs to clean up the studio, clean up the classroom.
Yeah, it's a good thing Alex is here.
Oh, can she hear you?
Probably.
She's shaking her head over there.
Well, she probably can't hear you.
Nice try, Sparky. Hey, you suppose we should tell everyone who we are and what we're doing?
Sure.
Since we're 3 minutes into the show right now.
Oh, are we already?
Well, yeah, if you're still with us 3 minutes in, I am Paul Markel, host of Student of the Gun Radio. Like, you didn't know that, but you may not have known that. You might be a new guy or a new girl, and you saw the title of this, and you're like, ooh, I have to listen to this particular one. So welcome. Close your mouth, open up your ears, and take it all in. And then take it all in again tomorrow and the next day and the next day, and after a week or two, you'll get it. Don't expect to get it the first day. It's okay. Nothing easy or nothing worthwhile comes easy. Isn't that right?
If you can acquire it fast, you can also lose it fast.
That's right, exactly. It's like these people that are overnight successes. If you are an overnight success, you can also be an overnight loss. People will forget you in a day.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, and the other voice that you're hearing is Jared. He is my co-host, my studio engineer, the producer of Student of the Gun Radio and Television. And we are in the Glass Case of Emotion studios on the not-so-sunny Gulf Coast of Biloxi.
And yes, there is a picture of the Glass Case of Emotion.
That's right.
You know what? I had somebody, it was Moses. He emailed me and he said, you may not have put a picture up of the Glass Case of Emotion, but you guys did an entire video of Paul showing the studio.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We did the behind the scenes walk around.
Technically,
it was out there.
It was out there.
That's right. We did do a behind the scenes welcome to Student of the Gun University. We did kind of like a cribs thing where we walked everybody around and showed them.
And it might not be on the Roku channel right now, but it will be. I don't know if it was in the earlier season 5. Or was it in later?
It was this year.
I know, but season 5 was this year.
Right. So it should be.
So was it in the beginning or the end?
I don't know.
Because apparently there's only 6 episodes from season 5 on Roku.
Really? I thought
Yeah.
you said they were all there.
That's what I thought too, but I looked at the dashboard and they're not.
Oh.
So Arturo, take your what is that? Xanax? Is that what calms you down?
I don't know.
Take the Xanax.
I don't know what.
And,
I know it calms me down.
yeah, it'll scotch. Drink some scotch. I don't think Arturo drinks though.
Well, whatever.
Yeah, and they'll be up there in the future. I'm working on other stuff right now.
I'm working on some really cool stuff. If you're not a member of the grad program, you should be, but you're going to want to be very soon. We've got Jared and I have both been working, especially Jared, behind the scenes, off the camera, off the radio, to develop new material and to offer new material.
I need to make an announcement about the grad program because the current software that we're using kind of messed us up a little bit. Gumroad, they used to have it so when you if you signed up on Tuesday or Wednesday, then you would get the previous Friday's episode. Well, apparently they recently changed that because it was confusing people, and I don't know what kind of people it was confusing, but it's pretty straightforward to me. So now if you sign up in the middle of the week, you don't get anything until Friday. But what we're doing in the future, it'll be within the next month or so, everybody that is signed up for the grad program, when we roll out the new one, will have the opportunity to sign up at the exact same price that they're paying now, or the $8.95 a month. Some are still in at the introductory price, but they're going to have to go up to $8.95. It'll still be discounted. It's going to be discounted significantly. And so everybody get into the grad program now, because when that opportunity arises, you'll sign up for the new software that we're going to be using, and you'll be able to access every single grad program that we have ever done. The past, the present, and the future, as long as you stay a member. But when you sign up, you'll have access to the grad program, the bonus hour from day number 1, which was
Whenever it was.
8 months ago.
I don't know.
Up until whenever you cancel your membership, which is hopefully never.
That's right. You shouldn't. So we do have a lot of stuff for you guys. Thank you for everybody who took advantage of the event security book. And yes, I know that it is a limited interest item. Not everybody is going to get something out of a book about event security. And that's why I specifically said, hey, I know this is not for everyone, but the best way for me to make sure that everyone knew about it was to send it out to our entire list of followers. Because I don't know, believe it or not, I don't know what you do for a living. I don't know what you specifically do for a living, so I can't, target it, to you. But we have had
I could include that option.
Yeah, there you go. Tell us what you do for a living. But we have had several students of the gun in the past that are involved in law enforcement and professional security that have asked questions because they know that I did a lot of bodyguard work and security work. How can I get started? How can I do this? What have you? So we made the event security book available for pre-sale to everybody this week. And then next week, we're going to have a product. We're going to have a special that's a little bit broader that will reach out to if you listen to the show, it's for you. It's that simple. Mm-hmm. But thank you for everybody who got involved in that. The printers are printing the books right now, so we hope to have them in our hot little hands by this time next week. Thereabouts. They told me that they will be here before June 2nd, and I think we said first week of June shipping, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I talked to I didn't talk. You don't talk to anyone in America today. You email back and forth. I talked. And you know how many people do that, Jared? They exchange emails with people and they say, I talked to such and such. But they really meant that they communicated via email with them.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, we've got, we told you guys to pay attention this Thursday. We've got a lot of news. We've got actually more than we can deal with. There's so much. It's making our job difficult because I have all these news stories in front of me, all these things, and there's no way that we can get to them. Even if we did 3 hours a day, we couldn't get to them. So we have to pick and choose what we're doing. Now, before we get into this, I want to thank you for everybody out there in the audience who's been supporting Velocity Triggers. VelocityTriggers.com, designed for precision. A lot of you guys out there in the audience have ordered your triggers. Then you get them and you take a picture of the trigger. You take a picture of your new rifle with the trigger in it, and you share those with us. Share them with Velocity, too. But thank you very much for that. Velocity Triggers is one of our newest sponsors. Frog Lube's new to the show, but Velocity Triggers is the newest student of the gun sponsor. So, we always want to make sure that we're letting these guys know that, hey, you are paying attention out there. You are listening, and you appreciate the fact that they're out there supporting us, because we couldn't do this. There's no way we could do it every day, get in the studio and turn on the lights and the black carbon steel microphones and all that jazz. That I wouldn't have that monitor that tells me how long I've been talking if it wasn't for our friends and supporters. Brownells, listen up. Brownell sells ammo. I just got an email in my inbox with the ammo that they had on sale. They've got all these ammo sales, pistol ammo, rifle ammo, and so forth. Listen up, hippies. I'm not going to tell you again. If you go to your safe, go to your gun safe, go to your cabinet, go to wherever it is you store your ammo and look. Do you look at what you've got and ask yourself this question? If I went to the store tomorrow and the shelves were empty, would I be okay? Would I be satisfied? Would I be in panic mode? Don't let yourself fall into that panic mode that so many of your friends and neighbors did, 3-4 years ago. Folks, if you need ammo, if you're going to take a training class, which you should be training, you should be practicing, get yourself some ammo. Go to brownells.com. Right now, they just sign up for their little newsletter thingy, because every time they have a sale up, they'll send you an email that says, hey, bing, this is on sale. And these things go fast. The sale packages go quickly, so if you wait until you just accidentally see it, it's going to be sold out by the time you see it. Go to brownells.com and check those guys out. And we already mentioned it, but I'll mention them one more time. Frog Lube, it just works. If you've got a gun, if you've got a knife, if you've got anything that needs lubrication, Frog Lube is the fashizzle. Is that correct?
Wow. Did you just say that?
It's the absolute.
It's the absolute fashizzle?
For you. That's right.
Okay. I guess we'll go ahead and start in on the smart stuff now that we got that out of the way.
The smart stuff. We want to make us feel smarter. You know what? I almost feel like we should have a song or something, but I don't know if we have a song for this. But this story actually was shared with me by a friend of mine who is still an active duty police officer in Ohio, a good friend of mine. And he's an officer with one of the Ohio Sheriff's Departments, one of the sheriff's agencies. And this memorandum, this ruling, was sent around to all of the sheriff's offices, and I'm sure probably it went out to all the municipal departments and the state police department in Ohio after this came down. And the story originates out of Toledo. And this is one of those stories that you guys are probably, you might not catch it. But this is from the ToledoBlade.com. That is our source. And the dateline on this was Thursday, 5/14. So it's a week old as you hear this. And you may not have heard it because, well, quite frankly, people are busy doing stuff. But Dateline Columbus, a Toledo man can sue a city police officer for detaining him illegally in 2010. Wow, it's been taking that long. For openly carrying a semi-automatic handgun in his neighborhood, a federal appeals court ruled on Wednesday. The three-judge panel of the Cincinnati-based 6th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals, however, threw out a similar allegation made against a second officer the court found had acted in, quote, good faith based on what he'd been told by the first officer. And we got a quote, says right here, it says, the Fourth Amendment no doubt permitted Officer David Bright to approach Sean Northrup and ask him questions, Circuit Court Judge Jeffrey Sutton wrote, but that is not what he did. He relied on the facts to stop Northrup, disarm him, and handcuff him. Ohio law permits open carrying of firearms and thus permitted Northrup to do exactly what he was doing, Judge Sutton wrote. While the dispatcher and motorcyclist may not have known the details of Ohio's open carry firearms law, the police officer had no basis for such uncertainty. This is what happened. Okay, so this guy decides that, now this is the crazy thing in Ohio. Apparently, if you have an Ohio-issued concealed carry permit, then you're lawfully allowed to open carry. But you can only open carry if you have a concealed carry permit, according to the story. And that really is like making my brain swim. I'm not sure what the point in that is. But it says, this is what happened. On June 16th, 2010, Sean and Denise Northrup were walking down Rochelle Road in their neighborhood with their Yorkshire Terrier on a leash when a passing motorcyclist challenged Mr. Northrup for openly carrying a handgun in a holster next to his cell phone. Okay, here we go. We got a hoplophobe. He must have been riding his motorcycle because he wanted to feel the wind in his vagina.
Yeah.
The motorcyclist called 911 because the guy was walking his dog and he was carrying a gun. Because obviously that's what you do when you're about to commit a crime.
That's what the sheeple have been trained to do.
Yeah. Oh, I'm afraid. I see a gun. I'm afraid. Oh.
It's sad though. You see umbrellas now. You get called.
People see an umbrella and they're like, it must be a rifle. I'm so scared. I'm such a vajayjay. Upon his arrival on scene, Officer Bright told Mr. Northrup to hand the dog's leash to his wife, which he did. The officer said Northrup removed his cell phone and then moved his hand back towards the gun in a furtive movement. Now, Northrup had removed his phone to record the interaction. He kept asking questions rather than complying with the officer's demand, and he turned around and raised his hands above his head. He provided his driver's license upon demand, but he told the officer to look up his concealed carry permit, which you can do if you call dispatch and you give them the info and they say yes or no. Anyway, but the thing is he wasn't committing a crime or in the process of committing a crime. Well, I'm not going to bore you guys with all of the details, but here's what happened. So Mr. and Mrs. America are walking their dog. Mr. America here has a gun on. Now, he is within the laws of the state to open carry a gun, and which he is doing, and he's walking his dog in public. And a vajayjay rolls up on a motorcycle and decides, Jared, is this not how insane our modern society is? That somebody who's not at all involved in the situation rolls up, sees a guy and his wife walking their dog, and sees a gun, and decides that the best course of action for him is to challenge the person who has a holstered gun and tell him, hey, you shouldn't be doing that, or you're not allowed to do that, or I know my rights and you shouldn't, you're offending me, you're scaring me, and I peed a little bit down my leg. Right? So this like metrosexual, I don't know, on a moped, calls 911, and he tells them, there's a man with a gun walking a dog with his wife. And if you dig deep in the story, it says that the dispatcher's like, well, what is the man doing? Well, he has a gun and he's in public. So the dispatcher's like, all right. So she calls the closest guy and says, hey, go drive over here and see what's going on. Now, so the police officer shows up. Now, just because the metrosexual on the moped doesn't know what the law is, because all they know is what they read on their favorite, like, Moms Demand blogs or whatever. So he thinks that it's wrong and it's against the law and you shouldn't have that and yada, yada, yada. Well, the officer who rolls up should know the law, because while the average Joe can be excused for ignorance of the law, actually, that's not true. Ignorance is no excuse. You can't get arrested for violating a law and then say, I didn't know. That's not if that's your defense, those defenses never fly.
Yeah, but you can't expect police officers to know the law and to know how to use firearms. To know the law in their state. Them to be.
Well, here's
what did they say?
The circuit court said that the dispatcher and the 911 caller can be excused for not knowing the law, but the officer in question cannot be excused for failure to understand the law. So what do we got here? We have somebody walking on the street, walking their dog, minding their own business, not in the commission of a crime, right? And Johnny Law rolls up and is like, hey, what's going on? Now, here's the deal. An intelligent police officer, a trained police officer, can tell the difference. You know, I've had crank callers. I've had people that had a problem with their neighbor, or they want to use the police as their enforcement arm because they're offended. I've been offended, and I want the police to make me not offended. And this is what we've got here, this Metro on a moped. You like that? I like that. This Metro on a moped gets all vajayjayed up, and he's like, I'm offended. I'm going to make the police deal with my being offended. I shouldn't ever be offended by seeing a gun. That's just wrong. And it's the police job to make me feel comfortable. So, but if you're a cop, you roll up and you're like, okay, what do we got here? We got a crank call. We got somebody who's all, vajayjayed up. What do I need to do? You assess the situation. You roll up. I see man, woman. Okay, rock on. We got dude walking a dog, and he's got a gun in a holster on his body. Now, based upon what you have to know as a police officer, you have to know that it is legal, it is within the law of the state of Ohio to openly carry a firearm in public. All right. Well, that's where things go astray. What happens is the officer involved disarms the citizen, takes his gun, handcuffs him, puts him in the back of a car. Then the second officer, the one who has been relieved from the lawsuit liability by the courts, rolls up. He rolls up, and he doesn't know what has transpired until he gets there, and the first officer says, oh, this is what I'm doing. I'm doing blah, 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 this. Well, the attorneys for the plaintiff have filed suits against both officers. And the second one is dismissed because the second officer, the courts recognize that he acted in good faith. He was provided X information by his officer, and he acted upon the information he was given, not upon the original circumstance. So what the court has found is that, and this is the takeaway, and I'll give you a sentence right here from Judge Sutton. He said, not only has the state made open carry of a firearm legal, but it also does not require gun owners to produce or even carry their licenses for inquiring officers. And in the finding, it says that possession of a firearm, being in possession of a gun, is not in and of itself probable cause for detention. And what is detention? Well, when I turn you around, put handcuffs on you, and stick you in the back of my car, that is detention. It is not probable cause. And they tried to charge this guy with something like, it's some really specious charge, like, inducing panic. Yeah, the original officer decided, and here's what I see in this. I see this as butt covering. Like, I got to charge this guy with something, otherwise I'm going to be in trouble. Even though he was completely within the law. So they charge him with inducing panic. But if you go into the inducing panic statute and read it, what this guy did, following the law does not involve inducing panic. You have to do certain things. And walking your dog with a gun on your belt under the statute is not inducing panic. And they ended up, they threw that charge out. So here's the deal. This whole entire thing is the plaintiff and his attorney are attempting to sue the Toledo Police Department and the officer and so forth for wrongful detention and so forth. Well, originally they're like, no, you're not going to do that. So this gets all the way up to the Circuit Court of Appeals, and the Circuit Court says, yeah, we're going to allow it, and this lawsuit can go forward. Well, what does that mean to us? What does that mean to everybody in the United States? Well, this is a good thing, and we need to let everybody know, and every law enforcement agent in the United States needs to understand this. Chicago, New York, et al., California, do I need to keep going, Maryland? All you communists. And why is this important? Well, this isn't an Ohio State ruling. This is a U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals ruling. And what does that set, Jared? Jared, it starts with a P.
Judicial precedent.
It sets judicial precedent that it is not probable, just because you have a gun in a holster on your belt, that is not probable cause for a law enforcement agent, for an agent of the state, to stop you, disarm you, handcuff you, and put you in his car until he can determine that it is, unless it's illegal for you to have a gun in the open in your state, and I know there are slave states in America where you can't do that. Just because you don't like it, just because you think it's stupid, just because you think these morons open carrying, just because it offends you, just because you're against guns and only cops should have guns, or blah, 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 the court's like, no, I don't care about your feelings. I don't care if it offends you. I don't care if you don't like it. It's lawful, and that's not probable cause to detain someone.
You know what I think would be a better term for the person that called 911?
Besides Metro on a moped?
Yeah, I got a better one than Metro on a moped.
Segway, chimpanzee riding on a Segway, bam, 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 bam. Chimpanzee riding on a Segway, chimpanzee riding on a Segway, chimpanzee.
Okay, I just had to.
Chimpanzee riding on a Segway.
Sorry, I had to.
I didn't even know that existed.
Oh, really? Well, I'm going to put this. If you guys want to watch a chimpanzee ride a Segway, I'm going to put the video in the show notes on StudentOfTheGunRadio.com.
Oh, my Lord. And well, rock on.
This chimpanzee rides a Segway better than some humans. It's interesting.
Better than Paul Blart Mall Cop?
Yeah. Zach sent me that song like a while back, and that's what I thought of when you said Metro on a moped.
Metro on a moped.
Chimpanzee
on a Segway. All right, well, that's some good news. Put that in your hat. Share it with your friends. Now, this doesn't mean that you can go out and act like an idiot in public, and we don't want you to do that. Obviously, you're a student of the gun, and you're not going to do that. I'm still against the whole strapping an SKS over your back and going grocery shopping. I'm sorry. I'm just not down with that. That's just stupidity. The following segment of Student of the Gun Radio is brought to you by whom? Well, it's brought to you by Crossbreed Holsters. Crossbreed Holsters, if you need to carry a gun, you need a Crossbreed holster. They can help you. They've got holsters, they have accessories, they have things for gun purses, for bags, they have belts. They actually have high-quality belts to go along with your holster. If you got a holster and you're trying to get away with a $5 Walmart belt, you're wrong. You're wrong like...
Donkey Kong?
Yeah.
No, that rhymes.
No, that's right. Yeah. It's on like Donkey Kong. You're not wrong like Donkey Kong.
Wrong like...
There's so many things I could say it's wrong but this is the public hour and I can't say it.
It's wrong like... It's wrong as pre-foam soap. There,
That's wrong. It's wrong like pre-foam soap. So check out...
We got an email from somebody named Zach, and he's from rabidturkeyfarms.com. I don't know what that is, but maybe he'll tell me now. He said that he sent us a link for firearmblog.com/something that I'm going to show you and see if you want to talk about it on the radio.
Okay.
But he said, anywho, thanks for the shows, and I just put in an order at Crossbreed and mentioned you guys. So thank you for doing that, Zach. Let us know how you like your Crossbreed holster.
Hey, rock on. Thank you, guys. Whether it's whoever it happens to be, we always appreciate you guys letting our sponsors know that, hey, you're listening, you're paying attention. Century Arms, makers of the C39, 100% made in the USA AK. You know what I had last night? I had Jared's AK. I was sleeping in the shop, and I've got Jared's Century Arms AK that we Duracoated, and we did we got a bunch of Brownells accessories, and I put a new pistol grip on it, and it's pretty trick, isn't it, Jared?
Yeah, I like it.
It's pretty good. If you haven't, we put pictures of stuff like that up all the time. Do we put a picture of that on the Instagram?
Maybe.
I can't remember. Maybe we need to do that.
It's black, so
it's black.
Get on there.
Well, it's kind of like a gray ghost, it's kind of like a battleship gray.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Century Arms, check those guys out. They redid their website recently. If you haven't checked them out lately, you need to do yourself a favor and do so. CenturyArms.com.
Yeah, go download the Student of the Gun mobile app, open it up, it'll take you to a homepage that has their logo, obviously. You can log in with Facebook or Twitter when you open up the thing. And then it's got some pretty cool pictures of some stuff that we were doing at SHOT Show. We got guns on there. We got a bunch of stuff. And then you could click on the little Sentry tab in the bottom right, go directly to their website. And while you're there, you might as well go ahead and look at the radio shows. You can look at the gallery. You can leave some fan mail, check your messages, all that kind of stuff.
Yep. Download the Student of the Gun mobile app. Do it. You want to. And SWAT Fuel. I actually took some SWAT Fuel today. I did the 40 cal multivitamin because I've been doing a little bit extra working out this week. Actually, I did treadmill Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So I took some 40 cal multivitamins. I've been taking them a couple of times a day, and I just used the regular 9mm today. But before we came in the studios, I actually went and worked out for about an hour. If you are interested in SWAT Fuel, if you're interested in fitness, if you're interested in getting that little bit extra, go to SWATfuel.com, and when you make your order, be sure that you use your promo code SOTG2015. And we've been remiss, Jared. We haven't been saying the promo code every day. So if you want to save some money, you get 10% off your total order if you're a regular guy. And if you're a grad program order, you can use the grad program code and get 20% off. So don't forget to do that. This next story is another ruling. We've got another Supreme Court ruling here, and our source for this is theblaze.com. Now, it's kind of weird. The verbiage is kind of weird, so you're going to have to stick with me. It's one of those SEO titles where they just shoved all kinds of words in there to, I don't get that. But the first sentence of this is, all right, Supreme Court. Oh, really? I got a furniture ad just popped up. I don't want to buy your furniture. Supreme Court makes major gun ruling.
Wow, that was a squirrel.
All right, squirrel. May 18th, 2015. And the first sentence is, a unanimous Supreme Court ruled Monday, this is a week ago Monday, or a week as you're hearing this, it's the previous Monday, that the government cannot prevent, you know what's funny, Jared? Is they use the word can't in this sentence. And when I submit articles with AP style, I've been told not to use contractions and to spell out cannot, do not, is not.
It looks better anyway.
Anyway, it says a Supreme Court ruled Monday that the government cannot prevent a convicted felon who is barred from possessing firearms from trying to sell his guns after they are confiscated by authorities. And you're like, what in the world is this all about? Well, here's the deal. You guys know, because you're dedicated students of the gun, that there has been a movement underway for at least 20 years in the United States of America to disqualify citizens from owning guns, to increase the reasons why you would be disqualified. We don't disqualify people from owning cars. We don't disqualify people from owning houses. We don't disqualify people from their First Amendment rights. We don't disqualify people from Fourth Amendment, Fifth Amendment, all those. But the Second Amendment and guns, our legislators are constantly coming up with ways to disqualify you. And when was it the Lautenberg agreement, Frank Lautenberg? Is it hot enough for you down there? Is it hot enough for you down there, Frank? When they came up with this, we're going to come up with a new way of disqualifying citizens from owning guns, and we're going to take it all the way down to misdemeanors. That is tyranny, but what the heck? You guys are used to it. The justices sided with Tony Henderson, a former U.S. Border Patrol agent who agreed to turn over his collection of 19 firearms to the FBI as a condition of release after he was arrested and charged with distributing marijuana. After he pleaded guilty, should have pled no contest, but I'm not his attorney, Henderson wanted to sell the weapons valued at more than $3,500 to a friend or transfer them to his wife. But the lower courts found that doing so would technically give Henderson possession of the weapons in violation of the law. Prosecutors also... Go ahead.
Are the weapons in violation of the law? Because that's what that sentence says.
Yeah, it says... Look at you. Prosecutors also said that they were concerned that Henderson's friend or wife might give him access to the weapons. Go ahead and talk for a second, please, while I take a drink of water and compose myself.
So basically what they're saying is that your weapons, it says weapons here, not guns. Well, your weapons are not your property. You can't do with them as you please.
Yes, well...
And so is not possessing. Distributing marijuana, apparently that's a felony charge?
Well, apparently, it depends on how much. It's an amount and intent to distribute and all that. And I'm not going to get into the Schedule 5, Schedule 4, Schedule 2, all the schedules of drugs and narcotics. And it's really convoluted. But let's just say, okay, Mr. Henderson was wrong. He got busted. And he's doing the time, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, well, you can't have guns now because guns are bad. And, you're a felon in possession of guns.
Because he was a violent felon.
Well, whatever. But here's the lie. Here is the huge lie that the government is trying to perpetrate. This is what they said. Prosecutors also said they were concerned that Henderson's friend or wife might give him access to weapons. Because what do we know in the United States of America? We know that criminals, once they've been convicted and they put their name in that book of criminals, they have that great big book, the U.S. government book of felons. We know that criminals never gain access to guns. Because
felony possession of a firearm is not a charge that exists.
That never happens. So they're worried that, here's the deal, folks, it's a lie. Bad people are always going to get control of guns. But no, Paul, but we need more. The prosecutor was really concerned. So the prosecutor is really concerned that this former Border Patrol agent who was busted for selling pot they're concerned that transferring the guns to his friend is going to give him access to them. And that is their greatest fear, is that this guy is going to. Is this the same government that funneled rifles and pistols into the hands of the Mexican drug cartel? And isn't it the same Border Patrol that had an agent murdered by a cartel member who was in possession of a rifle that they gun-walkered, fast and furious, wide receivered directly into the hands of the cartels? Am I on crack over here in my glass case of emotion, Jared? Or is this the same government that funneled guns into the hands of drug cartels? And now they're really super concerned that this Border Patrol agent, he's lucky he got out before a cartel member gunned him down with one of the rifles that the DOJ fed to the drug cartels. Do not forget that. I'm not going to forget it and let it drop. I know most of your friends and coworkers are morons and don't remember what happened 2 days ago, but you and I cannot forget. The same DOJ that funneled guns to cartel members is really super concerned about you. The same BATFE, MOUSE, that funneled guns to the drug cartel just seized 3,000 unserialized lower receivers from Stag Arms because they didn't have the numbers on them.
Yep.
The same one.
So, who is in charge of the guns that are kept overseas that may be stolen?
You mean the 20,000 M16A2 rifles that just
who was
went
in charge
missing?
of those?
Well, they were our allies were supposed to be keeping an eye on them.
Yeah, well,
and they ended up in the hands.
The reason that our enemies
ended up in ISIS photo ops.
Yep.
United States Army M16A2s ended up in ISIS photo ops. They're posing with our guns. So are we really concerned about guns here or what? Well, here's the upshot of this story. I'm going to go. I know you guys, thank you for patiently sticking with me on this. So the lower courts are like, no, you cannot. The FBI has to keep your guns. Your guns are not really property. They're just things that we allow you to possess. Well, Elena Kagan, who's a scumbag, sorry, she's a left-wing scumbag, but for whatever reason, she was allowed to rule in favor of the Constitution in this. I don't know why this happened. She must have been like on different meds that day. But Elena Kagan said the government reading of the law goes too far in saying Henderson would illegally possess the weapons just by being allowed to sell them. And here is a direct reading from the court order. It says, held, a court-ordered transfer of felons' lawfully owned firearms from government custody to a third party is not barred by Section 922G if the court is satisfied that the recipient will not give the felon control over the firearms so that he could use them or have direct use of them. Federal courts have equitable authority to order law enforcement to return the property obtained during the course of a criminal proceeding to the rightful owner. That is a big deal because there are a lot of judges in America that are anti-gun judges that don't like guns. And people have been charged and had their guns taken from them and then found not guilty. But did you know this was going on, Jared? The judges were, if the guns were taken as part of the investigation, they were taken into custody or into evidence, then the person was either found not guilty or the charges were dropped or whatever. There are judges in the United States that would order the guns to be destroyed because guns are bad. Just because. So as soon as they got into their midst, and I can't remember, there was one specific judge, and I'm racking my brain, who was like the big anti-gun judge. And anytime a gun got into the state's possession, it never went back out. It never got returned to the owner. He would order it destroyed because guns are bad. And according to the Supreme Court ruling here, this is a huge deal. It says that federal courts have equitable authority to order law enforcement to return property obtained during the course of criminal proceedings to the rightful owner. Section 22G, however, bars the courts from ordering guns returned to the felon owner like Henderson because that would place the owner in violation of the law, and because bans constructive as well as and because 922 bans constructive as well as actual possession. It also prevents a court from ordering the transfer of felons' guns to someone willing to give the felon, blah, 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 blah. So what do we get here? So the upshot of this is that even though this guy has been convicted and he has lost he's now a disqualified person. He's disqualified from possessing a gun until he's relieved of that disqualification. And that costs a lot of money and time and attorney fees. They can't just take the guns and say, well, we're not going to let you have them back, or we're not going to transfer them to a third party, or we're not going to give them to your wife, or we're not going to let you sell them to your friend because we think your friend will let you use them. If this person was actually, Jared, you know the only way to keep criminals from handling and possessing guns? To put them in jail. Because if a felon is not in a jail cell, if he's out wandering amongst the public, he's going to get a gun. That's just the way it's going.
But you got to give them parole because they're in this room, that little room all day.
It's not fair.
Yeah.
And it's not fair. And prison doesn't solve anything. Supervised adult probation, that's what solves things. That's right. So two big court rulings here. Number one, the first one is possession of a gun, lawful possession of a firearm, is not probable cause for detention and arrest or inducing panic. And number two, that even if someone has been disqualified through one of the myriad disqualifiers that are in place right now, that doesn't mean that the government gets to seize, hold, and or destroy their lawfully owned property. They can still sell the property to someone else. Pretty big deal. All right. Well, it's Thursday, and that means it's the end of the public week. We'll talk to you guys again on Monday. If you're a grad program member, we will talk to you tomorrow. Now, kids.
What I need you guys to do.
Jared has instructions for you.
Thursday, and it's the last day that you'll hear my voice until Monday. I need you to call, and Monday's the Warrior of the Week. It's the Swatfield Warrior of the Week.
Oh, yeah.
I need you to call 682-207-SOTG or 682-207-7684. Call that number, ask a question, and if I choose your question on Monday, you will get a free bottle of 9mm plus P, and you will obviously also get to hear your question.
Well, you'll hear your voice on Student of the Gun Radio.
Yeah, that's the most important part.
That's right.
SWAT Fuel. SWAT Fuel is just a great bonus.
That's right. It's a great bonus. You get to tell all your friends you were on Student of the Gun Radio. You can run around the house screaming.
Yep.
All right, that's it, kids. Remember, until we're together again, you're a beginner once, but you should be a student for life.